Do you remember the first time you saw a car drifting on screen and felt your heart race? Maybe you were in your living room, just a teenager with a remote control in hand. No idea that you were about to watch one of the movies that would shape an entire generation of gearheads. Too Fast 2. Furious, or as many still call it, the movie with Brian's blue skyline, marked the culture of the 2000s with speed, style, and attitude. And if you grew up in the United States during that time, it's impossible that this movie didn't become part of your memory. But what most people don't know is that behind every drift, every colorful car, and every insane action scene, there's an even crazier story behind the scenes. A story that involves contract fights, recycled cars, improvised scenes, and even torture inspired by the Middle Ages. Yes, you heard that right. Now, think with me. Have you ever wondered why Dom Toretto, the most iconic character of the franchise, just disappeared from the second film? Or why that bright pink Honda S2000 from Suki became an instant collector's item, even though it only appeared for a few minutes? And did you notice that several of the cars from the first movie came back disguised in the second one? If you think you already know everything about Too Fast, Too Furious, hold on tight, because what's coming next will make you look at this classic in a whole new way. This video goes way beyond nostalgia. We're going to dive into the wildest facts, the most unexpected behind-the-scenes stories, and the decisions that nearly destroyed, or saved, the franchise that today is worth billions. But before we dive in, go ahead and hit that like button because it helps the channel a lot and tells YouTube that you want to see more videos like this. And if you're new here and love everything related to car culture, speed, and stories no one tells you, hit that subscribe button now because my goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. And I'm counting on you in this race. Now shift gears and race with me because what's coming next is going to blow your mind with facts. Even die-hard fans don't know. Are you ready?
What the hell is that, Bota? What the hell is Bota, man?
Gimme. Okay, ready?
Don't smack me, good. Come on.
The production of Too Fast, Too Furious started with a massive challenge. How do you continue a franchise that had already become a cultural phenomenon without its main protagonist? Vin Diesel, the face and soul of the first film, simply refused to come back. But why? The answer lies in an explosive combination of ego, artistic vision, and creative control. Diesel believed the script for the sequel was weak and that turning the franchise into something lighter, more colorful, and exaggerated could destroy what he helped create. In his own words, the first Fast and Furious was about loyalty, respect, and the raw, real street culture. The sequel felt more like a commercial for tuned cars than a continuation with soul. Additionally, Diesel wanted more control over the direction of the franchise, and Universal wasn't ready to give that to him at that moment. Result? He jumped out and went to film XXX, believing that would be his new personal empire. But the world had other plans. With Vin Diesel's absence, the studio needed a new formula. Paul Walker, who had already won over the audience as Brian O'Connor, agreed to return, as long as he had the freedom to develop more action and driving scenes. That's when Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson, was created from scratch, to fill the void left by Dom Toretto. And what a turnaround. Tyrese, with his natural charisma and hilarious improvisations, like the iconic "We Hungry," quickly won the audience's heart. Fun fact, that line wasn't even in the script. It came out on the spot, out of nowhere, and became one of the most memorable catchphrases of the saga. This shows how much the second film bet on spontaneity and the urban style to connect with a new generation of fans. Another interesting point. Director John Singleton wanted the film to feel like a hip-hop music video mixed with street racing. That's why everything in Too Fast, Too Furious was designed to have more color, more neon, more beats. The film's aesthetic directly reflects the 2000s Miami lifestyle, a city full of excess, vibrant culture, and where every car is an extension of its owner's personality. And speaking of cars, there's more than meets the eye. Do you remember Brian's Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7? It was chosen not only for its looks, but because it needed to be an all-wheel drive car, ideal for the chase scenes on various terrains. Meanwhile, Suki's bright pink Honda S2000 was completely customized for the film, with fluorescent paint and an exclusive body kit, and it became so iconic that it turned into a coveted item even among the most hardcore enthusiasts. But what most people don't know is that several cars used in filming were recycled from the first movie. The production, instead of spending millions on new vehicles, brought back models like the green Mitsubishi Eclipse from the first movie, and even the legendary orange Supra from Toretto, disguised with new colors and stickers. They appear as extras in race scenes and street meets, and only the most observant fans catch it. It was a cost-saving move, but also a way to keep the DNA of the first movie alive, even with a new cast and setting. And the action scenes? Many were done with real cars, no CGI, and choreographed like dances. The stunt team practiced each maneuver exhaustively, with precise timing and millimeter adjustments to make everything look chaotic. But in reality, it was all under total control. Paul Walker, who was an amateur driver in real life, insisted on driving in scenes where that was possible. And that brought a realism that you feel, even if you don't realize it. Even the weirdest scenes have interesting origins. Remember that scene where the villain Veroni tortures a cop with a bucket, a rat, and a blowtorch? That was based on real torture methods used in the Middle Ages, where the rat, trapped inside a heated bucket, would try to escape by digging into the victim's body. It's grotesque, but it shows how much the film flirted with the darker side of action, even while being more colorful and pop. And here's one more. The movie was almost called The Fast and the Furious. Miami Heist, because the original script focused more on a heist than on races. The name only changed at the last minute when the producers realized the brand needed to stay clear, but at the same time, innovative. And that's how the stylized title Too Fast, Too Furious was born, which is still remembered for the creative pun with the numbers, a marketing move that turned out to be genius. So, did you know all of this? If any of these facts surprised you, go ahead and leave a like right now, because that shows the algorithm that the video is good and makes YouTube show it to more people who love cars and car culture just like you. And take a moment to comment below. Which of these facts did you find the craziest? Or even better, tell me which movie from the franchise you want to see here on the channel in the next video. Who knows, I might bring the behind the scenes of Tokyo Drift or the craziness behind Toretto's return in the fourth movie. Your comment might become the next video. Now think with me. The second film in the franchise may not have Dom Toretto, but it brought something that would become the soul of the saga in the following years. The transformation of Brian O'Connor from an undercover cop to a true outlaw with a heart of gold. In Too Fast, Too Furious, we see the birth of the Brian that everyone grew to love. The guy who doesn't hesitate to risk everything for loyalty and justice in his own way. This transition was more than just a script change. It was the beginning of building the true hero of the franchise. Someone who would unite the two worlds. The world of speed and the flexible morality. The Brian from the first film was an undercover cop. The Brian in the second one is already fully immersed in the street racing subculture and starts to discover his true identity as a driver, a friend, and a man. And if there's one thing the film does well, it's creating an emotional connection with the cars. Each vehicle represents much more than just transportation. They're extensions of the characters' personalities. Brian's Lancer is balanced, technical, agile. Roman's Eclipse is aggressive, flashy, full of attitude. And all the cars have a screen presence that borders on being characters themselves. This is no coincidence. The producers knew that for the American audience, especially the generation that grew up playing Need for Speed Underground and watching tuning videos on YouTube, cars were more than decoration. They were the essence. Speaking of tuning, did you know that many of the car modifications in the film were done by Universal's own team? They hired real specialists from the Los Angeles automotive scene to ensure that everything looked credible. To the true fans, no generic parts or random stickers just for style. Every detail had a purpose, whether it was aerodynamics, power, or pure ostentation. In fact, many of the cars used in the film were later exhibited at conventions, tuning, events, and even in automotive museums. They became icons like the Dodge Charger from the first film, but now with a more futuristic, colorful Miami vibe. But not everything went smoothly. During filming, some scenes went very wrong. One of the cars exploded accidentally during a chase scene, and the team had to stop everything for 2 days. In another sequence, The stunt driver who was driving Brian's car almost lost control when making the jump on the movable bridge. And all of that was captured on camera. The scare was real, but the scene turned out so well that they decided to keep it with just some minor digital adjustments. This shows how risky it was to film certain scenes without relying on CGI, something rare nowadays. The movie had sweat, risks, and even real accidents. And speaking of real things, did you know that Tyrese and Paul Walker became great friends in real life during filming? The two connected so much off-set that much of the chemistry you see on screen is pure, genuine friendship. Tyrese later said that the behind-the-scenes moments were filled with jokes, pranks, and improvisations that often ended up in the final cut. Director John Singleton, by the way, encouraged this. He wanted the movie to have a loose, light energy, almost like the characters were living a spontaneous adventure. And it worked. You feel the lightness of the film, even when danger knocks on the door. Now hold this one. One of the film's most iconic outfits, Roman Pierce's sleeveless vest, was Tyrese's idea. He wanted the character to have a tough summer look, something that fit Miami's hot climate while showing attitude. The result? It became a trend. After the film's release, sales of vests skyrocketed in American urban fashion stores. Yes, Too Fast, Too Furious influenced even a generation's style. And the villains? Carter Verone, played by Cole Hauser, is one of the most calm and cruel antagonists in the franchise. The idea was to create someone elegant, intelligent, but extremely dangerous. No shouting, punches, or guns in hand all the time. Verone dominates through silent threat. Interestingly, the actor spent weeks training with ex-military and high-level private security consultants to perfect the character. This gave the film a tenser tone, balancing the flashy aesthetic with a villain who really commanded respect. Now here's a fun fact. The yacht Verone uses in the final scene wasn't just any location. It was a real yacht worth millions of dollars lent by a local Miami magnate. The condition? That he and his children could meet Paul Walker on set. The result? The yacht became a set piece, and the family got photos and autographs to last forever. These little stories show just how intense the behind-the-scenes were, just like the scenes that made it to the cinema. And there's more. Remember the scene where dozens of cars drive out of the warehouse to confuse the police? That was done, with more than 150 real vehicles, organized in an absurd logistical scheme. There were real people driving, professional drivers and even local car owners hired just to be part of the scene. It was a sort of tribute to the meetings and car gatherings, where everyone comes together out of pure passion. It was one of the largest car mobilizations ever on a set. If you've made it this far, it's because this world runs through your veins. So, help me out with a mission. Hit the like button now because it really helps the channel grow. And comment below. Do you think the film would have been better with Toretto? Or did Roman hold the wheel well? I want to know your opinion, and who knows, it might appear in the next video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, dude, what's up? Hit the red button and come race with us. In the end, Too Fast, Too Furious may have started as an uncertain sequel, without its original protagonist and with a new creative direction, but it ended up becoming one of the pillars of the franchise. It was here that the universe began to expand, the characters gained depth, and the culture of modified cars was celebrated with authenticity. It was in this film that we saw the birth of Roman Pierce, the unshakable loyalty between friends, the glowing Miami nights, and the confirmation that speed ran deeper than we ever imagined. The truth is, without this chapter, maybe the rest of the saga wouldn't even exist. If this video made you remember the first time you watched the film, the thrill of seeing that ramp being jumped, or the car meets with your friends, then drop, seriously, it cost you nothing. But it means the world to me. And if you're a fan of cars, racing, stories that burn rubber and accelerate your heart, this channel is your place. Go ahead and subscribe now and turn on the notifications, because every week there's a new video for those who live with their foot on the pedal. And if you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes dive, comment below. Which film from the franchise would you like to see in the next episode? Anyone is fair game, from Tokyo Drift to Fast X. Your comment could turn into the next script. We're racing together on this road, and the next turn promises to be even crazier. So stay tuned, share with your gearhead friends, and let's make this channel grow to 1,000 subscribers and beyond. Because here, the passion for cars never slows. Down. See you in the next video.